Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the RodPod, the solo podcast with yours truly, Mouth of the South, Rod Rodriguez. It's a longer episode I usually upload on YouTube because, the Facebook people don't really like to watch long format videos. So please do check it out on YouTube and please subscribe as well. It's the Rod Trip TV. There are some exclusive YouTube content on the Rod Trip TV on YouTube that I don't really share on my FB or Instagram posts. Now, really interesting topic that we have. This would be, I think, officially episode 5, but I stand corrected. My previous episode was a little bit on the serious side, so I was thinking, let's make it a little funny. Let's make it a little not too serious, the not too serious side of Pinoys. And in other words, we can call it Pinoy Quirks. Now, I was born in the Philippines, partly raised in the Philippines, but also grew up abroad, and so I can see things from both perspectives. Obviously, I am guilty of a lot of these Pinoy quirks because I am Pinoy, but I also see it from an outsider perspective where why do Pinoys do that? And are they But in a nutshell, Pinoys generally are funny, happy people. We are very positive. We always look at the glass half full, even if the glass is totally empty, and we laugh in the face of adversity. We're singing karaoke in the midst of poverty. Well, that's why most foreigners look at Pinoys and see Pinoys as happy people. Our hospitality, it's our ability to adapt, it's our singing talent, and a lot of just great traits of a Pinoy. But we also have a lot of quirks. Now, these are not necessarily negative. These are just quirks or traits or traditions or habits by Pinoys that defy explanation. I mean, if I have like a foreign friend who would ask me, why do you do that? I would really have a hard time explaining it. And different parts of the Philippines obviously has its own quirks as well, like the Visayas region. They have their own, I guess, superstitions and whatnot. And the Tagalogs have their practices as well. And even here down south in Mindanao, we also have our own thing. Mindanao is more of like a mishmash of the Tagalog and the Visaya. And that goes for our dialect as well. So there. Now, speaking of dialect, what about street food? Now, here's something that I actually just discovered and realized recently. We've always been calling this popular street food by its wrong name. I mean, if you base it on what it's supposed to be called, because I am based down south here in Mindanao in Davao City. And in Davao City, we refer to those eggs that's coated with that orange flour and eaten with like vinegar and like cucumber and like with a stick. We refer to that as kwek kwek. The proper term for that is actually tokneneng. Now, if you've probably heard of tokneneng, if you've lived in Manila or Luzon, they refer to it as tokneneng. That's actually what kwek kwek is. We call it kwek kwek here in Davao, but it's actually really tokneneng because kwek kwek is supposed to refer to the quail egg version, the smaller eggs version of tokneneng. So if it's like chicken egg or if it's duck egg, that's tokneneng. And if it's on a stick, usually like almost like a barbecue type stick, and it's quail eggs or the smaller eggs, then that's the kwek kwek. So we've been calling kwek kwek here in Davao, with the wrong name. It should actually be called tokneneng. But tokneneng just sounds so Tagalog. Just a kwek kwek just sounds, I don't know, more, I guess, Bisaya friendly or something. And we've just gotten used to it. Nobody really corrected us on that, So I'm pretty sure if we have friends visiting from like Manila or Luzon and we go, oh, let's eat kwek kwek. And then they see it and they see like it's a big egg, like a chicken or a duck egg. They'd be like, that's not kwek kwek. That's tokneneng. Kwek kwek it refers to quail eggs. But you can do your own Google search. Regardless, that's just how we call it here. So if you are from another part of the country and you come to Davao and we treat you to kwek kwek, just know that it refers to not the quail egg, but the duck egg or the chicken egg. It's the big egg. So baliktad siya. And we don't really have a term for the quail eggs either because that's not very common here in Davao. I don't see that, sold on the streets too often. Maybe at night markets, food markets, they might have the quail eggs, but even then, we probably just call it kwek kwek altogether because, like I said, tokneneng just sounds so Tagalog. Why do they serve the kwek kwek or the tokneneng, if you're in Manila, with a stick? Like, Why can't they just give us like a plastic spoon or like a wooden fork or something? Not a spoon, but like a fork. Like I don't. It's impossible to eat that with like one stick. They literally give you like this one stick. It's almost like a barbecue stick without the sharp part, and you're like rolling that thing and trying to figure out how to eat it. I just defies explanation, right? Try eating egg with a stick. I mean, it's hard enough to eat it with a fork, right? I'm talking about like a boiled egg. That's just how Pinoys roll, and then you end up just like it rolling all over the place, and then the egg crumbles and breaks apart, and it makes it even harder to eat. So, anyways, so speaking of sticks, what about our mall security guards that inspect our bags with a stick? And the social ones use a drumstick. Yung pang drums talaga na stick. Like they have this one drumstick. They probably buy like a pair and then like each guard has one or something. So, oh, ito isa, ito isa. And they use that as somewhat of like a metal detector or like a, I don't know, contraband detector. So whenever you have a bag with you, whether it's your backpack as a student and you're entering the mall and the security guard is checking, for dangerous items, sharp objects or weapons that you're carrying with you, they use a stick to make ukay. All right, what's kind of understandable, I guess. They do that because they don't want to use their hands just in case there's a sharp object there. But it might seem odd for, like, let's say a foreigner or somebody who's not Pinoy. Tapos, di ba, chinek yung bag. Tapos ang gamit, like, literally a drumstick, like a musical instrument drumstick, not just like an official stick. Because, di ba, they have their the batuta. They have their, is that called a club or something, for the security guards and law enforcers, but they don't use that. They use like a drumstick, and sometimes it's so old already, like it's discolored. And I don't know if that's issued by their agency or they provide that on their own, but security guards that use a stick. And sometimes there's already a metal detector. They already have a metal detector, that metal detector wand, and they still resort to that. It's like a must. It's a must for every security guard in the Philippines. So don't be surprised if you see a security guard with a drumstick. He's not about to perform. All right. He's not a drummer. Maybe he's a former drummer and just, had a shift in career and decided, I might as well put this instrument to good use. All right, security guards checking your bag with a drumstick. That's a Pinoy classic because I've been to other Southeast Asian countries, other Asian countries, and they never do that. It's just, for some reason, it's just a Pinoys that actually really use a legit drumstick. All right? Okay, so all pets here in the Philippines respond to a universal name. Like all dogs, especially here in the Visayas, Mindanao region, the Bisaya-speaking regions of the Philippines, we refer to dogs as toy, 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 toy. All right? So even if your dog's name is like Ashley or Timmy or whatever the name of your dog, Brownie, Blackie, it's pointless because that dog will approach a stranger once the stranger uses the magic name toy, 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 toy. Toy, toy, toy. And if it's a cat, it's ming, 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 ming. All right. So it's practically pointless to give your pets names because they probably will not even respond to that as much as they would respond to toy, 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 or ming, 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 ming. And I don't know if foreign pets respond to the same or it's just exclusive to, Pinoy or pets who happen to reside in the Visayas, Mindanao region. All right. Because in Manila, I don't think they say toy toy toy. Definitely, I think toy 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 is like a Bisaya thing, like toy 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 toy, right? Because I think it stems from the Bisaya word for puppy, which is itoy. Just my assumption, but you can correct me on that. All right, Pinoy Quirks. 80s Pinoy films with a beach scene. Now, it's an 80s Pinoy film, then there's a song and dance number at the beach. All right, it's been discussed countlessly. People, for some reason, never ever complained about it. Directors, for some reason, never really thought that was silly to do that. I mean, in most, even like FPJ films, which is like action and serious, whenever there's always like a break where they start dancing in the beach and, everybody's running around singing and dancing in this choreographed dance number. Like, when did they have the time to choreograph the dance moves? And why does everyone like take turns popping out of like a tree? There's like a coconut tree in the middle and like you see their heads popping like that and then they take turns like, and there's like this dance and the music just starts playing and even the ones who are not part of the cast like start joining in and just like the camera just pans out and like just takes a wide shot of everybody dancing in this choreographed dance number. And no matter how serious or how kind of far out from the plot of the movie that scene is, the Filipino movie viewers will just eat it up and just accept it as part of, And I'm not sure if we were influenced by Bollywood, but that's a common scene found on most Bollywood movies where they always have a sing and dance number. And I'm assuming they probably did it first. But they don't do that anymore, like in the more recent Pinoy films. But definitely 80s and maybe mid 90s Filipino movies, especially comedies with like Rene Riquestas, Tito Vic and Joey and Andrew E. and stuff. They always have that song and dance number that seems to be like the time to take a break or something. Maybe it's the time to go out and go to the comfort room or buy popcorn and a drink. You can comment down below, all right, if you notice a lot of Pinoy quirks that I haven't tackled yet on this particular episode. Okay, so here's one that's actually informative. You know the term chit? You know, like, boss chit? Like, it's like in the US, you'd be like bill or tab, right? If you ask for your bill, after your meal at a restaurant, and you know you want obviously the accounting of your orders and how much you have to pay for your meal. In the US, usually it's like tab or bill, you know, or whatever. But in the Philippines, a lot of us use the term chit. Now, chit is actually a legit term. It's actually not like a Pinoy made up term. Chit is actually a universally accepted term, and it means a tab or an IOU or a record of money owed. And it is chit, CHIT, all right? Like, you know, if you ordered something at a restaurant, if you purchased food or whatever, and they give you the bill, that can be referred to as a chit, usually at a restaurant. But I don't recall, like having lived in the States for what, 6-7 years, I don't recall any time that we dined out where we actually asked the waitress or the server for our chit. It's usually our tab or the bill or the check. That's the main thing. I don't know why we call it check, but in the US, check please, right? That's what we address the server as. But in the Philippines, boss chit. Boss, pwede may chit. Ma'am, chit na. You know, sir, chit. So it's always like a chit, right? Like, and we always make that symbol, like that hand gesture. So apparently it's legit. You can Google that. CHIT, chit, is actually a term that refers to your tab or your bill. All right, for usually your food orders at a restaurant. So it's a Pinoy quirk that's actually legit, right? But we never actually took that seriously, and we just assumed that it's something that, you know, our elders made up, or it's like maybe a shortcut for the word receipt. I actually thought at first it's like a shortcut for receipt, but apparently it originates from the word chithi, which is Hindu, which means letter or note. All right, there you go. So to end on I guess more intellectual note, that not all Pinoy quirks are beyond reason or cannot be explained or remains a mystery or is connected to humor or silliness or whatever. There is actually some seriousness in some Pinoy quirks as well. And you can bet your bottom dollar, madami pa po akong Pinoy quirks to share. I have a long list, but like I said, I want to condense this and I want to be able to make this digestible for my YouTube and Facebook audience. So on Facebook, you'll be seeing this as Reels, but on YouTube, you can see the whole episode. And hopefully, again, you will subscribe to the YouTube page. That's the Rod Trip TV. Or you can follow, of course, the Rod Trip on Facebook as well. Both pages feature my content. So I would appreciate that. All right. Another episode of the RodPod solo podcast with your mouth of the South, Rod Rodriguez. Again, being Pinoy is always looking at the bright side of life. Catch me again on the next episode.
It's the one and only Digo Double G.